What if planet Earth gets invaded by aliens? Would we be able to fight back and defend our planet? Would the human race be able to survive? Or would planet Earth and mankind be conquered? We are going to take a look at a scenario if aliens invaded planet Earth. We will also hear people's thoughts and their views on what would happen.
If an alien civilization has the ability to cross interstellar space to reach Earth, they undoubtedly have advanced technology. If sentient life is based upon expansion and based upon exploration, then it's entirely likely that other sentient species are also engaging in interstellar exploration.
Any society that could come here and threaten you, they've got bigger antennas than we do. They can already pick up our television, our airport radars, all sorts of stuff. So we're already telling them we're here.
Sooner or later, we're going to see some kind of signs of extraterrestrial life. We need to prepare.
In a universe nearly 14 billion years old, it's easy to conceive that there could be civilizations out there with a billion-year head start on us. With my 21 years at the Ministry of Defense, I've clearly gained an insight into how we would fight an alien invasion. I know full well that there are, of course, deeply classified projects, black projects, classified weapons programs that are not yet public knowledge.
As the aliens head towards Earth, NASA is alerted of the object. Observatories around the world start looking in the direction and hope to pick up the object entering our solar system. At first, it is thought the object was an asteroid. After tracking the object for days, the object suddenly starts to slow down as it gets closer to Earth. Now, the theory of it being an asteroid is ruled out. It becomes clear that the object being tracked is under intelligent control, as it slows entering Earth's atmosphere. By now, news of this event has traveled around the globe. News stations start broadcasting reports of the event unfolding. Militaries around the world go on high alert. Panic starts to set in among the planet's population.
Fear, shock, panic, anger. It's entirely likely that humans would be terrified.
Society would begin almost immediately to break down. This may take the form of laser weapons, directed energy weapons, and others that we can only speculate about. Perhaps some things we can't even guess at.
If aliens launched an invasion, some believe it would unite the world as there would be a common enemy to all on planet Earth. But could all the military might of the world be able to put up a defense? In theory, the aliens would first knock out our satellites orbiting Earth and shut down our communications around the world. The loss of our satellites and communication abilities would throw us back into the Stone Age. Without communications, it would make it very difficult for nations to communicate with each other to plan a defense. Physicist Michio Kaku.
They would blind us by knocking out our satellites, GPS, telecommunications. We have underground bunkers, we have command centers inside of mountaintops. All of this would be essentially useless against an alien attack. Humanity, as an organized, civilized structure, would collapse in the opening week of an invasion. However, we will regroup. That's the power and spirit of humanity, that we will fight back for our common interests, because we're fighting now for the homeland.
As the invasion continues, militaries around the world would suffer great losses. Cities would be destroyed. World militaries reduced to pockets of resistance. Our way of life would no longer exist. Food and water would be scarce. Hospitals and medical help would be next to none.
An alien civilization approaching Earth as a potential target for conquest is going to first try to eliminate any kind of resistance. You would essentially drive human civilization back into the 19th century.
As it is evident that the invasion force's technology is far superior than our own, governments might decide to use nuclear weapons to try and change the tide of war.
I'm sure that many of the nations of Earth would use nuclear weapons, even on their own soil, as a last resort to try to stop some form of alien invasion.
It has been said that in the past, aliens have the capability to take our nuclear missile sites offline. Missile Launch Officer Captain Robert Salas.
We had control of 10 nuclear missiles, and sometime in the evening, I was in command, and I received a phone call from my guards upstairs because we were underground. And he said that they were seeing strange lights in the sky, flying very fast and stopping and reversing course and making maneuvers that they didn't think aircraft could make. So I was not, didn't consider his comments seriously, I guess. And so I basically hung up the phone. And then he called back 5 minutes later, and this time he was very frightened, very scared, shouting into the phone, saying that he saw, he had his guards there, and they were seeing a oval-shaped orange-red object hovering just above the gate of our facility. I went to tell my commander about this phone call, and as I was speaking to him, the missiles went into inoperable condition, what we called no-go. They could not be launched, and we lost all 10 of them while this object was still above us. He reported this to the command post, and they told him the same thing had happened at another site.
With the alien force neutralizing our nuclear capabilities and have destroyed most of our world's military, people that have survived through the first stage of the alien attack would start to gather in small groups. Most would head for areas that the aliens have not been to or have no concern for. Our government and remaining military would regroup and plan for a defense. With the aliens' invasion proceeding to the ground stage, we now will have our first look, up and close, of our enemy. What do they look like? Can we communicate with them? Most of all, what do they want? With the ground assault commencing, people will take different actions on what to do next. Small groups will try to start counterattacks on the invasion force. Others will want to try and communicate with them. Some will try to hide and wait it out, hoping that they are only here temporarily. Our remaining military will start planning and gathering intelligence on the aliens and attempt to learn as much about them as possible.
They may have weapons considerably more advanced than ours. Weapons that could destroy a planet. It could rapidly explain why there are so few Earth-like planets in the galaxy now, because of earlier waves of warfare.
The facts are that any society that actually could come here, whatever they want to do, they're going to be able to do it. To think otherwise would be to assume that the Neanderthals could have defended themselves against the U.S. Air Force. They could have tried.
First objective would actually just be survival. The second priority would be the capture of enemy technology and reverse engineer them. It may be possible for us to produce them in significant quantity.
Days into the invasion, our military has gathered up as many scientists, engineers and doctors that could be located to discuss the intel they have collected. Desperately looking for weaknesses, if any, the aliens have. The next course of action will be to try and capture one of them, attempt to interrogate the being, find out the reason of the invasion, and possibly open up a dialogue. Would this even be possible? Physics, Michio Kaku.
Realize that if they're that advanced they can reach the Earth from a distant star, they are already thousands of years ahead of us in technology. And we would present no military challenge to such an advanced civilization.
After many attempts from the military to try and capture one of the invading forces, it finally pays off. After scientists and engineers study the alien, the conclusion is, it's of robot form, with artificial intelligence. It's so far advanced than what our understanding of technology is today. The scientists continue studying the being, but at a very slow pace. It could take hundreds of years to understand this technology. As the days pass, many have perished during the alien attack. The small groups that have survived and formed together are looking to the military for assistance. The military at this point is almost wiped out and do not have the resources to lend aid. Scavenging has become common as people survive. Most groups are helping each other as much as possible. Other groups are preying on the weak and taking anything of value. Is mankind, approaching its darkest hour. Exhausting all avenues to try and stop the invasion. What's left of the government and military work towards trying to communicate with the aliens and offer a surrender in hopes that mankind can avoid extinction. Is it even possible to communicate with the aliens? Carl Sagan.
To make contact with another civilization that has arisen and evolved independently. Well, one thing you'd have to do first is to be sure you can understand the message. Why should we expect that beings that are very different, evolved in a different place, different period of time for the revolution, should be able to send us a message that we can understand?
As it comes apparent, we do not have the ability to communicate with the aliens. Or they do not want to communicate with us. Mankind has run out of options. What are the aliens' plans for humans? Are they going to hunt us to extinction? Or enslave our population?
The less technologically advanced culture experienced pain, in some cases death and extinction, in some cases slavery.
Could they be planning on using humans as lab rats? Will mankind survive? If aliens did invade planet Earth, many people believe mankind would be at the mercy of the invaders.
An enemy arrives that has such a massive disparity in their technological capabilities that you have no means of potentially fighting back, then perhaps your best opportunity to survive is to accept the changing nature of your civilization.
If aliens have reached the technology to travel the universe, they are hundreds or maybe thousands of years more advanced than mankind. It might be in mankind's best interest to hope we never meet an advanced civilization that could possibly be hostile towards Earth. To close, Michio Kaku.
To understand the level of sophistication of an alien life form if we make contact with them. Now realize for the most part there are lots of uninhabited planets with resources on them. So if they can reach the Earth, they can certainly reach other planets that are uninhabited. So for the most part, I think they're going to leave us alone. But if one of them is hostile, watch out. We would be a pushover for them. Forget all the Hollywood movies. So I think that if they are that advanced, they're going to be peaceful. They will have had thousands of years to work out their internal problems of racism, fundamentalism, sectarianism. So I think for the most part, they will have had thousands of years to work out their internal differences. So I think they probably will be friendly. But we have to prepare for the possibility that they aren't. But if they are hostile, it would be like Bambi meeting Godzilla if we ever had to fight them.